We're back here on Super Mader Brothers podcasting. Sorry for the false start on our live stream tonight, but we are here on Facebook and YouTube for July 7th, 2021 for the next season of Big Brother 23. This is our second podcast following our draft and cast preview that we did on Sunday night. I'm Dave Mader, joined with my brother Jeff Mader and co-host Jaemeel Robinson. Guys, 90 minutes. A new cast, a new beginning, perhaps, for Big Brother, because it kind of felt like a little bit of a reset. They were explaining things to us like we'd never heard it. Did you know that they take away their phones and their cell phones in the house? Did you know?
Never seen before in the history of the show.
Did you know that the have-nots take cold showers?
What?
There's slop. They eat slop.
We are working on YouTube. Thank you, 2099. But we're here to break this all down. Guys, this was an interesting premiere. When we did our cast preview on Sunday, we had only had the bios and we had very limited information about this cast. There were no like intro packages like we did when we drafted Big Brother Canada. So just want to get your first impressions of tonight and how are you feeling, Jeff?
Oh, so many things to say. Most of the people if I was in that house, I would find super annoying, especially Brittany.
What?
She was the most annoying person tonight.
Do you know she packs a punch?
I packed a punch.
Anybody that comes on and says, I was the valedictorian and I'm top of my class, and that she wasn't the only one.
Karate.
But like everybody was just like bragging about like their accomplishments in life and not really telling me anything about who they are really. It's like, this is what I've done. Okay, well, that's great. But that doesn't tell me who you are. And this
Hannah's only 21. She hasn't had a chance to do much yet.
Okay, Hannah, I understand, but she explained her story, which, yes, is education. But it's, again, not telling me who she is as like her personality. Most of the time when they do the cast breakdown video, it's often like, like this is where I'm from. They did that tonight, but usually it shows the personality off more.
I'm
right.
Rambunctious. I'm energies are going, or there wasn't very not. I can see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So interesting.
I'm a lawyer. I went to one of the top 10 schools in Texas or in this country. Whatever the surfer bro said. Everything was just like, this is what I do, but not who they are. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. But I think there were some characters who were a little bit more personable in this cast, and I want to go through like maybe the four groups. We got the 4 groups of 4, and maybe we'll break down the cast kind of the way they did tonight and how that all played out. But interesting. Okay, and Jaemeel, how are you feeling after the premiere?
I felt like they did some people dirty in terms of their written assessments, because like Frenchie was not. They did not detail Frenchie well enough.
I did want to bring it up right off the bat, but I just wanted to let you know, oh no, you're fools, and you've given me Frenchie in the draft. I had the first pick, therefore I had the last pick, and you guys gifted me Frenchie, and now I have the first HOH. But hey, I didn't want to brag right away.
Don't brag too quick. Your Xavier, I don't think, is long for the house. So
I wasn't feeling Xavier as much tonight off this premiere. The little bit we got of him, which wasn't very much.
Yeah, Xavier is a cold fish in terms of personality.
Yeah, often as this goes, the person we think is the first overall pick ends up being a dud or somebody who goes pretty early. And I didn't get a great feeling yet. However, let's see how this plays out. It's only the first night.
I don't think so.
Jameel's writing him off. Xavier is gone. He will not be the X Factor.
I think he'll be gone quick. He will be seen as a threat. That team that he's on too is like the soup. Like the Christian guy's a really good athlete too. And then they got Sarah, my girl, picked last. By the way, both my girls, Dave, Sarah and Hannah, were picked last. They were
Sarah Beth. You mean
Sarah Beth? Sorry, Sarah Beth and Hannah were picked last. They were passed over multiple times, the both of them. I'm not feeling good about my picks.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna save it to later because we need to talk about Sarah Beth. Okay.
We need all 16 of these house guests. I think that there's some interesting things here. Yes,
Jeff, I
there
feel
are
bad
some.
for you, man. I feel bad for you, Jeff.
I think Sarah Beth, it could be a sleeper.
And he's got Doogie Howser.
Doogie Howser.
Yeah, I got Hannah Hauser. and I don't know if either of them can win, but you know what? I'm willing to watch, I guess.
Let's get into this. Okay, what did you all think about the theme of this house, which is the BB Beach Club?
No, it isn't.
The BB Beach Club.
That is not the theme. The theme is BB Vegas, but the house doesn't match the theme.
Yeah, the theme. Yeah, you're right. It's all about this gambling and high stakes and double or nothing. Yet at the other hand, it's like a nautical sailor's house.
It's Pacific City instead of Atlantic City. We have, the
Pacific City. Okay,
the beach casino. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Well, I think we might be struggling with some of the decor here, or the clashing of the things. But yeah, it would be more an Atlantic City kind of fit.
Well, Julie
Dave.
should have did some yoga, because that's a pretty big stretch right there.
The production at the end of the episode tonight, we were watching it, and it was so bad. It was there was no direction when they were hitting the button. There was no ding sound. There were so many little things. I was like, what is going on with the production? They have teams of people working on this show, and they can't get the ding sound right.
They're definitely. I do think that there has been a changing of the guard in some levels of the production. I know that all overall it's still an Allison Grodner, Rich Meehan production, but it's there's definitely some differences this season in a few departments.
Okay, biggest issue. What is one of the most important details that they show every single premiere night? And that is the cast meeting. We missed that completely. We totally missed that.
Very different. This was very new, and they tried something very different tonight. It was very mechanical in its execution, although I think it was kind of it was an interesting way. It was something new. And they brought them in groups of 4, so it did lack, I think, a certain energy. Normally, all the they do let these cast members come in groups, but normally it's hey, we all get in, we go, we're so happy to be here, and then they they have the champagne toast, and that would be the normal kind of move in. That's not what we got here. We got more of we're in a competition right now. Welcome to you're playing the game from this second.
But Dave, that did happen. We just never saw it. That's the problem. We see it in the background. They're upstairs.
Yes. There was a lot. There was a lot of that missed. That there's stuff there that we'll never get to see. You're right, and so therefore that we're only gonna be able to get maybe somebody's oh, remember when we met up on the balcony when we were watching the second group play, or when we talked about this. We'll never have that context, but. Them's the breaks. Let's talk about the first 4. But even before their little puzzle game, so we have Travis, Xavier, Frenchie, and Derek Frazier, Derek F. Jeff, of these 4, who made an impression, and maybe who didn't so much?
Okay, Travis, the beach bro from Hawaii that to brag about he's a businessman.
Really from Texas,
He's like, dude, I wake up at 4 a.m., I crank out a bunch of business calls, and then I hit the surf, and I start surfing for my own food. This is literally what he said. And I was like, oh, what the hell is this guy? Where did they find these people? Who does this? Who's
Hawaii.
Who's
they found him in Hawaii.
Okay. He's just... I see why they casted him, but there's too many of him on this cast, in my opinion.
He ends up tonight as the last pick. He is not in the schoolyard pick somehow, somewhat unexpectedly. He's not picked.
He's not
right after Sarah and Hannah were the last 2. Yeah.
But there was that whole personal aspect, and we're going to talk about the way they did the draft later on. But I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. And okay, what about Xavier, Frenchie, and Derek F? Jeff, just quickly before we go to Jaemeel.
Xavier, I thought was ridiculous. I thought again, it was I'm a lawyer. I became a lawyer because I want to change the world. I was like, that's a terrible reason to become a lawyer. Anyway,
that's also why I became a bartender.
Yes, and he won't even admit that he's a lawyer, so he's not proud of being a lawyer. these are like the little things that I kind of go, geez. And then who else was there? Frenchie, I think, will do very well. The part that he was a military guy and that whole like thing, I was like, oh, he's gonna be good.
He was not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah.
Like as soon as he started speaking and as soon as I got his intro package, I was like, you fools. Even before he won the HOH, I was like, you fools, you gave me this guy? Oh my God.
Oh, I mean, the draft is so like you're looking at a picture and a name and you're like, I don't know.
I picked Xavier as my number one pick, and yeah, I wouldn't have picked him in retrospect.
Xavier reminds me so much of the guy that Dave, remember in Sons of Anarchy? The guy that was like he was part of like I don't know the main gang that Jax was doing. He reminds me of that guy a lot, like just his mannerisms.
The guy who joins the Suns at the end.
Yeah, he reminds me. I don't know the actor's name, but they're so similar. And and Derek F. I think he's going to be a lot of fun. Like I think he got passed up a few times in the pick'em, and I thought that was a mistake on both teams' parts to not pick him.
He was the lesser Derek.
Yeah, he was a lesser there. And I also didn't like the pick'em guy. Like, did you like the fact that it was like, okay, Captain, you have to pick between this person and this person, and everybody else is left out. You must pick one of these two people in this pick'em. And I thought it was fine.
I enjoyed it.
No.
But
Survivor, it's fine, but not for Big Brother.
Jaemeel.
I don't like it.
Let's talk about these four. I don't want to get too far ahead to it, but these four casts, the first four men, they didn't pick the most energetic four men, I think, but to go in first because they were like when they walked in the door, they're like, "Hey, nice to meet you. Hi, hey, hey."
They were very business. They were like,
it was. They're like, oh, look at our pictures. That was like the most exciting thing they did.
It's poor direction.
Yeah.
It's poor direction in the sense that when you're on these shows, the producers talk to you and they're like, hey, when you get in the house, show some energy, just be excited that you're there, right? And you can see some people got the memo and other people didn't, right? That first group did not. So the producers is like, fix that issue going forward. Derek F., he his bio did not do him justice. He seems a lot more personable. I think he's going to do well.
He's
right?
gorgeous.
I think he has charisma.
He does.
Like
100%.
A lot of these people
he's
don't have
losing
charisma.
Right? He's the most sampled house guest tonight of the sounds I pulled, including this one.
I'm black. I'm gay. I represent everything that a Big Brother winner should have.
I love the music package behind him. It was like the Rocky, like I loved it.
Yeah,
his whole thing, and I really of anybody tonight, he was the one person I'm like, oh, I wish I had drafted him.
My father was Smoking Joe Frazier, the boxer.
We knew that, but yeah, sorry.
He really stood out. A lot of these guys who have $100 bodies and just 2-cent personalities, right? And Derek just stands out.
Daryl's saying that the two biggest targets are Frenchie and the X-Men. That's only because they're my picks. That's why he's saying that.
Well, Frenchie, because we know he's a strong pick from what we.
And why isn't Derek X? He could be the X-Man.
Yeah, Derek
Sarah
X,
Beth is in the best spot, and let me explain to you why.
Please.
She's on the Beautiful People team with Christian, Xavier, and Alyssa. And she's going nowhere. She's gonna sail to jury, and then who knows? Who knows from there?
No,
that's what she's hoping
tired
for.
of her. People are gonna get tired. Manic Pixie Girl in that group.
Well, we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens with Sarah Beth. Yeah,
she's the reason they lost.
Yeah, Christian. Well, the Kings.
I couldn't believe that those four people could not figure out how to stand paper triangles together, whatever they were.
They did it 3 times.
Guys, we're too far ahead. We got to talk about these four, the next four.
Okay.
But even and then my other thing here with just these four was also I was impressed with Frenchie and Xavier can dunk. I don't know if we didn't mention that.
Yeah, he's a good basketball player. Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't like Frenchie's overalls.
Frenchie's overalls. Where does he buy those? What store do you go in to buy those overalls?
That's
I
not what you
know.
wear into the house. I think you wear something a little better.
It's
Like,
they probably got it for him. He probably brought other clothes, and they're
No.
like, "Hey, you're a farmer."
No, Jaemeel, he was wearing those same overalls in his when they show him at his house. He was wearing those same overalls, so he brought those.
You're gonna see a lot of this.
Also, there's a lot of tall people on this season.
Yes, there is.
I noticed. So
Very tall, yeah.
the new girl's
Claire.
tall. The
new girl.
New girl.
The new girl.
They're all new.
New girl's tall. The queen of Cameroon is tall.
My pick has a.
Okay, let's go with the next four because Ozza is in that four.
Yes.
Right. So Ozza is the first one.
No penis.
She's not going for it.
Hashtag
No?
no penis.
So made a rule in the house. No penis. Nothing.
Hashtag no penis.
Nothing.
No penis. She's not doing it.
I'm like, holy crap! People are tall. Jeez.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about Ozza quickly. Jeff, what do you think of Ozza? Her package, other than maybe aside from the no penis.
I really liked her. I wish I had picked her. I passed her up, I think, on the first pick, and Jaemeel snagged her. I couldn't believe how tall she was. Like when she was standing beside the other three. It was just like, I don't know, like it's just amazing. Like I was like, oh my gosh, she's so tall. And then she's not the only one. Frenchie's really tall. There's so many.
Well, it was also what I also noted was this first group of four women. They were all except for Brittany. They were all in. The three others were in like kind of high heels and quite the dresses. I don't think prepared to be in a competition, or not thinking that would be the first few minutes going in.
Yeah, having to move plexiglass, like they weren't planning on.
Whereas
that.
the next group of four women, none of them had heels. So it was kind of an interesting thing, and just how the personalities coming through. Sorry, Jaemeel, I haven't asked you, but you seem to be in favor of Ozza. You seem to be happy with your pick. I'm going to tell you right now, no. Not good.
Ooh,
she's planning to target the first winner, like the first HOH, which happened to be her because she's on the team with Frenchie. But so what's she to do now? Backstab her own captain?
She's not going to do that. That team isn't going to make an alliance, and they're going to be strong together.
I think so too.
Maybe.
I agree. Yeah.
Once, okay. I don't want to get ahead. You already mentioned it twice. You're like, Jaemeel, stop. Okay, I'll talk about it later.
Okay, Brittany.
Okay, Brittany is no. I would want, if I was to the house, first person on the block, I would campaign before anyone even won HOH.
Just because you don't want to live with her.
I couldn't hear "Let's go" every day and let's just dance, and I couldn't take it. Like I would
dance, karate. She's a kindergarten teacher, or soon to be kindergarten teacher.
Too much energy for me personally. But I mean, okay.
What about Jaemeel? Brittany,
He's absolutely right. He mirrors my sentiments. No, thank you. No, bye.
Yeah,
I couldn't trust her in any alliance to keep her mouth shut. Just
Frenchie.
I already know that about Brittany.
Frenchie did not start out too strong, Daryl. He is not. Well, yeah, the first HOH is on the radar, but the first HOH always in a better position historically, statistically speaking. It's a better thing.
It's not a competition to show how dominant you are, right?
No, but the first HOH that's definitely something you want. It's like the stats prove that.
In the most recent playing of Big Brother, I would agree with you, Dave. But I think this season they are changing things a little bit. This whole draft, the norms are not good. The last 10 years of Big Brother, we're not going to see that exactly.
This is a new era, a beginning of a new era,
yeah.
with maybe some pain points that come with that. Let's talk about Alyssa. Alyssa, she is the swimsuit designer from Miami or Fort Lauderdale, I believe. She doesn't like fake smiles.
My fake smile is really bad.
So she doesn't like Whitney.
Yeah, I think she's a bit of a sleeper. In terms that she puts me to sleep.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. She's like, I might be pretty, but I also run a swimsuit model. It's like a company or something. I'm like, okay, Is that it? Is that and the fake face thing? Like, yeah, she can't hold her face. Okay, that's it. At least she told me something about her personality. I have to give her credit on that one.
Yeah, well, you would imagine like a player like Alyssa is going to is a single, ready mingle young 20-something, maybe a showman's potential, someone get into a beautiful people alliance. No,
That's
Jaemeel?
That was exact. I think that's the plan with like a player like this. Yes, get in the beautiful people alliance, try and win competitions, and dominate the game that way.
Right.
I think she's
But her
goldfish.
team,
Goldfish.
who's on Alyssa's? Well, and we'll see if how much these teams end up mattering for alliances, if at all. Usually they don't at all. But the King, she's on the Kings with Christian, Xavier, and Sarah Beth. So I don't know. Alyssa, whatever. She was one of the most forgettable people. Other than I don't think she's gonna be a very good player. And then we got Whitney, who has horrible taste in men.
I have horrible taste in men.
Horrible.
Horrible. Was she referring to like her baby daddies?
But she said men, so it wasn't just like one man.
Could be plural.
Right. Okay. I mean, she seems actually like a good player. I actually was impressed with her more than most of the players. I thought she will be able to play well. There's a lot of life experience in her. I think she's an entrepreneur. She runs her own company, but she seems like kind of like I don't know, yeah, like has the life experience to win the game.
She won this particular group of 4. She won the puzzle in her group and becomes the captain of she's the. I'll get it eventually. Everybody, what team is she on? The Aces.
Yeah,
she's on the Aces. Aces, yeah. So, yeah, like they were all 4 of these were just kind of like, okay, like I think I wanted to see all 16 of them get together. So I felt like I was like, okay, let's move this group through. Okay, that's interesting. It's a different puzzle. And I was kind of like, I was noting some of the false starts. Brittany thought she had it. Alyssa thought she had it at one point, but it ultimately goes to Brittany and Whitney.
I also want to make a point. I was saying this to Amanda during all the competitions because every time they showed an intro pack, it was like, I was the valedictorian. I was top of my class. I'm a doctor. And then every single competition, it was like the surfer bum won, the girl that runs the makeup company won it. It was like, I loved it because it just proved to me that like you can boast about your education all you want. Doesn't mean anything in Big Brother.
In carnival games.
And in carnival games.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this too. Like after the other thing Julie asked all 4 of them before they went in was, are any of you gamblers? And they're all like, nope. And this went on a few times.
Yes.
Like, a few of the groups were asked this, and they were like, no, not really.
Frenchie, the most cringe moment of the episode, and we'll get to it. But when Frenchie says no, and then Julie's like, why don't you just do it anyway? That was like
because we haven't planned for you not to go for it.
Yeah, it was.
Don't you want to see what would have happened?
Okay, no pressure, because if I don't win, it's not like I'm losing anything.
It's like Julie's like, this is all we got booked for right now. We had no in case this happens moment.
We're not ready to start Love Island early, so we have to keep going.
Oh my god.
Let's move on to the next 4. Brent, Christian, Derek X, and Kyland. So Kyland is he's the first introduced in this group of 4 in terms of his package. He's a well-rounded person. That was his thing. I'm a well-rounded person. And
you're bearing the lead. He runs a Caitlin's Way ranch or a Neon Rider.
What? Like, I'm sorry.
Where they take kids from like the city and then they they help correct behavior by having them be on a ranch and
like a group home setting thing.
Yeah,
like a boot
like
camp
Caitlin's
almost?
Way.
Oh, you know, like Neon Rider, like that show from the 90s in
Yeah,
like
like
the Canadian
Caitlin's
show.
Way. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That guy could do martial arts.
Can Kylan do martial arts? And like, is he like a Chuck Norris? Like, is he go around like helping people?
No,
and
that's
kicking
Brittany.
ass?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Brittany has the 4 black belt.
In Chuck Norris,
Yeah.
specifically.
Right.
It's specifically Chuck Norris karate. It's not even like generic karate. It's Chuck Norris karate.
that's like knowing Steven Seagal karate.
No, it's way better.
Chuck Norris can use his legs.
Okay, guys, what do you think about Kylan? Like, do you think you think he's long for this game, or what? You know,
put me to sleep.
Not entertaining.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
care.
it's Jake Sisko.
Jake
It's Jake
Sisko.
Sisko. I was watching DJ's 99ish episode when I was watching him. I was like, I don't remember this, Jake.
Who's got Kyle? Daryl's got Kylan. You're no good. No dice. No,
it reminds me so much.
Free dice that Frenchie throws onto a table.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Christian. Christian, I didn't hate him.
Girls love the curls.
He is what I thought he was.
Yeah,
he is what I thought it was.
I've met a million of these guys, but
how the hell? Yeah, Dave. They have two of them on the same season. We have Trevor and Christian. Can you really tell me how much different those two guys really are?
And you mean Travis?
Sorry, Travis and Christian.
Don't forget Brent Champagne,
the one that doesn't suck.
Yeah, and then Brent Champagne. Yes, we haven't got to him yet, but
well, he was in this group too. But before we talked to Brent, we talked to Derek X, who his thing was,
so everything I do, I try to be the best at it.
He's the best tennis player. He runs the best company. But his parents were like, no, be a doctor.
He played state tennis,
right.
And they didn't put that in his bio. That's some BS. I felt like very lied to with that.
Right. I thought he was a skinny Asian kid that crunched computers all day. But that's not the case. He's like this super athlete kid.
Who's also nerdy a little bit, but or
he's Professor
studious.
Hulk.
He's Professor Hulk. Yeah,
that's
he's
exactly right.
This guy's going to win some comps. This guy's going to turn some heads and also be a mental threat, I think, too.
Like every dude, like, okay, what's up with Shirk? Maybe.
Maybe.
Not
longer than
Jared Clark says Kylan will last longer than French or Xavier. Maybe.
He's probably right about that, but
no,
time will tell.
Time will tell.
We'll see. Are all the dudes going to be working out? Because
I was thinking about that. There was aside from Derek F, it's all
no, even Derek F.
He's pretty
press is like 500 pounds.
Yeah, they all got to feed those abs in the house. So you're gonna see lots of crunches, lots of group crunches. There'll be lots of shirts off. I don't think you'll see many shirts be worn on this season. That's what honestly, I don't think you will.
It's part for the course. Like we were watching Big Brother Canada 9. Oh, sorry, I hit the button. Big Brother. We were watching Big Brother Canada 9, and Jane would go, "Will Tashawn never wear a shirt?" And he never did. And then he won. That's how he won without the shirt, Jeff. Right. So I'm hoping that my new players, Xavier and Frenchie, also go shirtless all the time.
The balls to walk around with no shirt on all the time. It's
all the time.
All the time is I don't know how you get away with it. I get away with it, but just like I don't know why you would want to do it.
Most likely guys to do that are going to be Brent and
dude, all the guys, Christian. Xavier too.
Yeah,
they're all got these 8-packs that it looks like they've been eating is like vegan salads and doing crunches.
Vegan salads and group crunches.
Yeah, that's what I think's been going on.
Okay, yeah. So I think
they're just doing crunches like crazy.
Yeah. Derek, even Derek X has the abs.
Yeah.
Yes. They all do. That's hungry abs. Your boy's got to eat. He's got to.
Yeah. Do you think Derek X is going to be do you think he'll be looked at as just too much of a threat?
No, I think he'll lie low for a while. There's too many other bigger threats like Xavier and Frenchie.
I think people appreciate that he isn't just super buff and then a 10-cent brain. I think people who he will align with, and I think he's smart enough to align with people, right? He has the personality where he's not going to be like, oh, I'm the nerdy, shy wallflower, and I'm going to be by myself or whoever is left of the outcasts. He's going to get in there. He's worked with influencers. He has that social skill that a lot of other individuals in his similar position did not have. He's going to be good.
I tend to agree. Yeah. He'll get into a good alliance, I think. Yep. Derek X. Also, and to round out this 4 is Brent Champagne.
Brent Champagne, spelled just like the drink.
Is there another way to spell champagne?
No.
Other than the drink?
Just curious. Well, but isn't mushroom in French like champignon? So that's pretty close.
Yes, but it's not the same. It's
No. It's not. Okay, Brent Champagne. He is basically a lesser version of what was the wrestler guy that's been on like 3 seasons of this show? You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, you think he's like a Frank?
Spectacular. No, Mr. Spectacular.
Oh, you think he's Mr. Spectacular?
He's like a lesser version
The
of
Wish
Mr.
version
Spectacular.
of
The
Mr.
Wish version. That's who he's
He's a poser. He's a poser, he's a Mr.
No.
Poser-tacular.
He's just like a lesser variant, like to use a Loki term. He's not the real deal. He's
he the
RC
alligator?
Cola. He's RC Cola.
Is it the alligator variant, or is he more of a? So I guess that's a spoiler. There's no alligator.
It isn't.
No.
That's 2 weeks old. Look, the problem with him is that he thinks he has charisma and he doesn't. Right?
One-handed cartwheels, Jaemeel. I don't know if you noticed.
So, congratulations.
One-handed.
One-handed.
Not even two.
Yeah, and he'll one-handed cartwheel out of the house anytime that I don't think a good portion of these people are gonna look at this dude and like, this dude is like, what is up with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that he's
I don't
he's
know,
gonna
like
be exposed pretty early.
sometimes players like him, like I don't think he'll make jury, but sometimes players like him are funny or endearing, like kind of like we saw in the circle when the what's his name won the first season. Shuby,
you beautiful bastard, you.
So if he can find that gear, that was his name, Johnny, or the guy who won the circle season 1, if he can find that gear that guy found for that show, then he'll do well. He looks like he's
I know
he's
who
got
you
a
mean.
nice
I can't remember. Joey says
Joey. Yeah, if he can find that guy's game in Big Brother, then he'll do fine. But I don't think he will.
Well, do you remember Brent from a couple seasons ago, the one who played with Winston? They were in the level 6 alliance.
Yeah,
I feel like that Brent, he got to jury and he had some entertainment upside. Just like diary room sessions and some funny bits he did, right? Where he was, even when he was just like, he leaned into like, I'm going after the nerds, and you're like, okay,
yeah.
People are gonna dunk on this fool. I don't care what.
Brent Champagne, Jaemeel is not feeling it.
Nope. Dunk on him.
He gives, you know what he does? He gives them the same thing real Champagne does: a bad headache and regrets.
Yeah, Xavier's gonna dunk on him. Boom. That's how.
Yeah, they should team up, and then Xavier can talk about how he's doing it for his daughter.
Xavier has a daughter.
Sorry, I confused him with Devin for a second there.
Oh yeah, he's not Devin. He's much better than Devin.
I just keep going on about how much I hate Devin.
Okay, their puzzle was called Blindside Beach, and Christian won this one, but it was, yeah, I think he had the most interesting strategy, Christian, in this whole, like, of everyone who got to do the puzzles tonight. He was like, no, I'm just going to lay it out flat, and then I'm going to figure out which order it goes into, and then I'll put them into the slots. Whereas everyone else tried to put them into the slots in every other round, and so 15 of the players approached this one way. Christian was the only one who did it a different way.
See, my man thinking outside the box.
And in fairness, I think I would have done the same thing that he did.
Well, that's what Jane was saying right from the. She's like, lay them all out and then put them in.
I mean, it's easy for me to say that, but like I was watching the show, and before they even started, and I saw like what the thing was, I was like, I would just pull them all out if I could, and then figure it out.
They also had this platform in front of their, like, this box platform in front
to
of
lay the ball. Yeah, they had a nice table
there, so they wouldn't even have to bend over.
Yeah, they had a nice table to set it all up. I would have been like, "This is great. Can I get a sandwich?" Like,
but none of them used it.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope. It's
Christian used the floor. He didn't even take it.
Yeah, he had the right idea, but he was like, no, I can't use this because if I put something on this, it will explode. I don't know what he thought would happen, but
he had to walk over. He would have had to walk over and walk back. So I understand why he did it on the floor.
Especially now that we're into our third group here, I have to say something about. There's a huge advantage to the first group who got to go in. And like the weak, that's obviously the weakest advantage is to the last group. Like, so I feel like it's in the groups in the middle, a little bit of both. But because if you're in that Frenchie, Xavier, Derek F group, got to see everyone come in, everyone get to do the competition. No one had to watch you do the competition, and or make any observations about you, right? So I just think that that's something. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. It's just kind of what it was, but
It shouldn't happen. They should have been separated, not be able to see anyone's performance, so
Yes,
that when
I
they
agree.
meet, they meet for the first time.
I agree.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't like what they did there with the whole group, and it was just chaos. Like Julie couldn't control it. The production was a mess. It really was not good. As far as just like a plan, like and a program. Like this is like I don't even know how you screwed this up. You had months of planning. You know, like you know what I mean?
yeah, and they've been doing this for 23 years.
Yeah, it's not the first rodeo. It's just weird that they screw up like the dings and there's like no direction. And Julie's like, "Oh, are we going to break? Okay, we're going to break. Hey, want to throw the dice anyway? Why not?" Like I don't know. There were so many weird things going on in this episode. I was like, they do not have their stuff together.
I don't think
at
they had
all.
these 90 minutes quite planned out well enough. And yes, I think I think ideally you separate the groups, or maybe you let them watch. I don't think there's any advantage or anything good that comes from letting them watch the competition and giving this first group such an advantage. But I'm not complaining because both my picks were in that first group. So thanks the breaks. All right. Next group of four was the final four: the Sarah, Hannah, Tiffany, and Claire. New girl that Jeff would call her Claire, because she replaced Christine. Was that her name? Yeah, Christy Valdesari, who had to drop out due to a positive COVID test, as we mentioned on our Sunday night podcast. Okay, so let's maybe just run through them. So Sarah Beth, Jeff, that's your pick. She's the cosplay girl. Were you expecting her to have that voice?
Dave, she's a voice actor. She could be the next. She could be the next Tara Strong. So
I thought she was a forensic scientist.
She is.
I don't. She said a bunch of different things. Like
she did say. And then
she was like,
and then when you see her video, she looks like the girl from NCIS. I swear, all she had to be wearing dark clothing, and I'm
she
like,
does
oh
a
my
little bit.
gosh.
She kind
She
of
works
looks
in the
like
drug lab, so she does the drug tests.
she has the Zoe Deschanel kind of quirky girl thing about her too.
She's a manic pixie girl.
Yeah. Yep.
And women hate that. Women hate that.
Why? Why do they hate that?
Because like they don't like this. Oh, you're so whimsical. It's so endearing, but it's not. Right?
But I don't know. I could see her like getting in an alliance with Derek X. You know, like just I could see them like kind of being.
I don't know if Derek X will be into it. I can see her being into it, but
because she watches anime and she does voice acting for anime.
I just think they're kind of like the nerdier people in the house as well, and I do think that they're kind of like the geeks of the cast.
That's Derek X. That's Derek F.
You think Derek F's a geek?
Absolutely, bro.
He's a little bit. He's a little bit. He's also like a boxer, and he's like, but I don't know. Like, I feel bad for her because like I don't really know who she's gonna bond with.
Derek,
you know, all these people are like, beautiful people, Dave. Like they're all lawyers and doctors, and she's like, I'm the pixie girl, and it's like they're gonna boot her out so fast. I'm worried.
She also mentioned she's got a girlfriend, right? So like she's got the LGBT connection with Derek F and with Claire potentially.
Yep.
I don't know if that's gonna form any kind of alliance, but maybe just a little bit of a bond.
Yeah, for sure.
She said she was non-threatening. This is also the woman who said she wanted to kill all butterflies in her bio, regardless of the consequence.
Are we gonna get like the psycho edit for Sarah Beth?
Yeah,
like
it's a potential. I think she could go. Yeah. It will depend. It depends how the audience and how the house is going to respond to her. She's either going to be sort of like this crazy rock star-esque kind of character,
right.
or she'll be like, kind of like a Raven. You know, right. Just like woo, or she'll be like kind of a whimsy, like she'll be more like a Nicole, not Frenzel, the other one, the good one,
The Nicole that
The one that doesn't suck.
Nicole Anthony.
Yeah.
She might be more like a Nicole Anthony and be like, I'm woo, I'm just kind of fun, right? And
Yeah.
endearing.
I don't know. I don't know what she's gonna be, but I'm excited to find out.
Okay.
Okay, over to Doogie Howser herself, Hannah Chadha, the youngest house guest. She is, Jeff, as you mentioned, she's good at a lot of things.
Hannah, yeah, she's good at a lot of things. She's smart. She graduated high school at 16.
Also your draft pick.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking when I picked my picks.
She's really good at school.
Yeah, she's really good at school, and that's about it. Like, that's really, she didn't say much else.
Well,
Like,
she said she's of mixed heritage, Indian and South African.
People are not going to believe her when she's saying, "Oh, I'm just a student." They're like, "No, you're
a fashion student." Yeah, that's what she said.
People are not going to believe that at all. At all.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to believe Xavier's a bartender.
Yeah.
Like, that is the most ridiculous. Oh, yeah, you're
Well,
wearing
that's what
that.
I said. He's gonna say he's a bartender. Jay's like, well, he is a bartender. Like I guess that was like his law school job or whatever, right? But
They're going to say, "What are you doing? Like, you're bartending to do what? Are you going to be an actor?"
No, he says model. He says he's going to say he's a model as well, which that's a better excuse than bartender.
aspiring model would be
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
For Xavier. Yeah, he's got. I just don't. I don't.
You should have just said that he's an athlete that got injured in college, and he's changed direction to becoming a model.
What does it matter if he says he's a lawyer? What skill does this give him? I don't
Unless
get it.
he says he's doing environmental law or he's doing like immigration law, because those law professions do not make money.
Right.
Right?
I understood when Derek Levasseur didn't want to talk about being a police officer, especially an undercover one, because of there is definitely an advantage to that, or at least I had that perception at the time, and all these years later, I still think it was effective. I think exactly what he did, he completely fooled them all. He never touched the block, wasn't even considered to touch the block.
Yeah, but it didn't really matter. Like, at the end of the day, like, look at like a guy like Tony that won like the second season of Survivor, like, and Sarah. They're both cops, and they both made it to like final 3. Like, it really doesn't.
Personality is an advantage, but I don't know about lawyer.
Why is a lawyer is maybe not in this day and age, but it used to be a lawyer was looked way more down upon than a police officer, because a lawyer is always the guy that comes when the misery, divorces, funerals, settlements,
Right.
Lawyers most of the time is not a great time to be dealing with those people. And a police officer, yes, well, sometimes the same thing, but also sometimes not, more of the time, maybe not, than a lawyer.
What about hackers, Jeff?
Hacker? Who's a
New
hacker?
York City hackers, or like cyber, whatever Claire is exactly, a cyber or something or other.
Is that what she
coder.
is?
Well, I couldn't. Jaemeel, did you understand her intro package? What she said she was a.
So she is in, what is it, AI development, and she's a coder.
Right.
Okay, she's a coder. She's a coder. She's a program. She's a programmer.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I wrote hacker in New York City in my in my notes.
She probably knows how to think.
She's Mr. Robot.
Well, yeah, I think she has some program. She's a computer language expert. I think is probably accurate, and maybe more than that.
Also very tall.
Very tall, bisexual, and she'll go both ways in this house. So maybe her and Sarah Beth.
But Sarah Beth is in a relationship.
Oh, right.
So that's not working.
Unless, that's not going to happen. But she's willing to use her. What was it? Use her vices or advantages, like
her charms.
Her charms. She's willing to if
romance
gets her, if it gets her further. She's willing to flirt with whoever.
I like to think of that as a strategy showmance. That's, somebody's like, I'm willing to do the showmance thing to make sure I'm safe.
Guys do this way more often in Big Brother. Well, girls do it too in Big Brother, but guys do it. I find guys are like, I'll win the competitions and protect my showmance, or you know. And plus, it's like if we get targeted, it's only gonna be one of us, and I get the companionship and whatever, all this other stuff.
They always think it's worth it. It usually never is.
But the guys are more willing to cut the showmances, I find, traditionally.
Sure. It's only been worth it a few times, really. Like Jeff and Jordan, like they're still together, like certain people. But yeah. Most of the time, it is just like you're using the person to get further in the game. That and they're using you.
Yeah, and we both, but then sometimes they get married and then they live happily ever after. So it's a mixed bag. But she's willing to go for it. So I'm interested to see what kind of a player Claire is. I'm kind of glad she ended up in this cast. Not that Christy was anything I was up against, but I think Claire is kind of maybe a more of a game. Who knows what we would have got at Christy based on what we saw tonight. The bios themselves that we kind of judged off of were only so reflective of who these people are. And then lastly, the last house guest we haven't really broken down is Tiffany. She's the oldest house guest, but
do I look old to you?
Not. She looks like she's in her like mid-30s to me. Like,
well, she's a little older than that. I like how her son's name is Christian, and she will take no guff off of him. So I think that's going to come up with this Christian. She will.
Girls love the curls.
I'm going to play that so many times.
Go take out the garbage. Christian,
take out the garbage.
Christian, did you wash the dishes?
No, you didn't.
Don't try to play me, boy.
All right. So she's a blood-sucking CEO, Tiffany, right?
Yeah, they totally didn't mention that she actually ran her lab.
Yeah, so she runs a blood lab. Yeah, effectively, right? So, like we talked about in the preview, like Sarah's a scientist, Hannah's a scientist of sorts, like, and so is Tiffany, and there's a lot of people in this cast that have like sort of this scientific or sort of scholarly connection. Tiffany,
did you see in her bio, Tiffany said that she has an alter ego that may come out.
I don't think she let it. But I don't know. Okay, Tiffany, she'll definitely be the mom of the house. No way about it. No way around it. That she will be Mama Tiffany, but don't tell her
who's the
she's
dad
old.
of the house. Frenchie? Is Frenchie the dad of the house?
Well, he's the next oldest, but he's like 34, but he looks like he's 45. So I don't know.
He does. He does. And he has a pretty big family already. It's just like,
yeah. So he would be the
really
dad of the house. Yeah, he's the 34-year-old dad of the house, Jeff.
Is Tiffany married or has
Tiffany? I don't know if she's I don't think she's married right now. It doesn't sound like.
Her and Xavier.
Her and Xavier, 13 years apart, but sure, it could happen. Why not? Maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah.
One
and
thing
then they asked, are any of you risk takers? Julie asked.
Oh, yes. That's that.
Nope. Well, kind of. Kimmy's like, kind of. I started a business, so that was a risky thing, I guess. Yeah, kind of, but don't do anything bad to me or give me a twist. And then their puzzle was called Betray the Showmance. So they were planting the seeds about betraying it says cut them at final three. That's when you cut the showmance, not before. It's always at final three.
Yeah. Did you like the insert promos that felt like I was watching wrestling, where they're like in the house and they're like, "Hey, I'm Christian."
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this? This is pro wrestling?
Yeah. Hey, so glad to be here. I'm looking to kill it once I get in that backyard.
Okay, so tell me if you agree. Were these pre-recorded?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
I was like, I couldn't quite because Big Brother Canada. I'm after going through 10 weeks of that. It's such a pre-recorded, pre-taped, and then edited really succinctly, and then so sometimes I'm like expecting that, but then I'm like, no, this is Big Brother US. They love to do things live, right? Really live. Hence some of the disorganization that we see tonight.
Sure.
Yeah, and so it was. Sorry,
it was jarring to me.
Yeah, like it was.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Every one of them was, and they never said anything. It was just like I just said, so glad to be here. Whoa, this is amazing. Like, I think actually,
I think it did a disservice to it, right? Because, like Jaemeel, to your point, like we didn't get to see a lot of these meetings, and even at the end of the episode where we were just watching them sort of finally get to talk to each other more without any kind of production telling them to be quiet or wait or. On a cue, you saw like Tiffany and Derek F. They were right talking to each other right away, and there was some stuff like that. So there's things like we could have maybe got more of instead of cutting away to these stupid diary room sessions.
if they keep this up and someone starts cutting like a wrestling promo, it's like, this Thursday, I'm gonna take out Xavier. I'm gonna put him on the block, and it's over. He's dead.
I hope they do that.
I can't wait till
that.
they do like, you know, at any point if like Derek F like is on the block, it's like down goes Frazier, or like if he's HOH and he puts somebody on the block, Frazier with a right hook. And I can't wait.
Don't wait. The announcer will be giving us those before long. Yeah, or when we get, what is the next one? It's gonna be called the Wild Card Comp. That's what's gonna happen on Sunday. Maybe we'll get some cutaways to that.
He goes TKO for the win.
TKO for the win. We talked about, okay, so we've talked about all the house guests. We got into, they were finally together. We got like, hey, here are the 4 HOH finalists, but it was more complicated than that because we went into the whole the draft here basically. But it like, you're right, like it was the open air casino, but then they called it the House of Cards. Plus it's like they're at sea or they're in a Miami Vice theme. It's a little bit mixed, but this was.
Do you have the breakdown of the order in which they were? Because I have it.
Yes, I do too. I do. Yeah. So then we go. Well, we could already see like the 4 captains, and then they had the 4 banners above them, which and ended up coming into play. So, I was critical maybe of some aspects of tonight's production, but I thought some other things about like these competitions were interesting and well presented. And so the Jokers, the Aces, the Kings, and the Queens. And how that all went, but they said that you have to have 2 men and 2 women on every team. That I guess that makes sense, right? And this whole like you get 2 options, right? You don't. We're gonna and based on what they say, so we get a little bit of an aspect of getting to know these house guests a little bit more, or at least what they were probably told like this is something other house guests might see, so just keep that in mind. You have the ability to lie here if you want to as well. And so, the first one was
they did lie because like Xavier lied like in his when they did the little so like they definitely did.
And Sarah Beth said she was a voice actor, which maybe she is as well too as being a forensic scientist.
Why not just say you're a forensic scientist? What are you worried about?
People don't like them. They think she's Dexter.
Oh, that's a threat.
Anyway, Frenchie had the first option. He was so. If you were like, let's say you were Frenchie or any player, and you're presented with this, what would you do? How would you react? And what criteria are you just gonna like? Okay, I'm gonna watch the video. Am I gonna read the house and try to get a sense? Because
I wouldn't even watch the video, to be honest. I wouldn't care. I would look over to. I'm like, these are the 2 people they're making me pick. I would look over and I'd be like, who would I pick? Regardless of the video, like
maybe whoever you felt you had the best connection with up to that point, right?
Yeah. Sure. That's how I would go about it.
So Frenchie gets Hannah or Azza as the first pick. Picks Azza
wisely. He chose wisely.
He did. He did. I think he did as well. Yeah. and I chose Hannah, but I think you bring the Cameroonian queen onto your team. I mean, how was that a loss? That's a win.
Okay. We're giving Frenchie the props here for Azza, the pick on Azza. Okay, then we go over to Whitney. She has to pick between Brent Champagne. He's always Brent Champagne, right. Or Travis.
She made the right choice, and it was impossible. It was Sophie's choice.
She crapped on Travis though.
Yeah. Well, because she was kind of flirty, right? She's like, that wasn't a good enough sales pitch, Travis. Ha ha ha, right?
But like Brent Champagne was like, hey man, I just fly on airplanes and see that there's beautiful people all across this beautiful land. That's what he said. And it was like, that's better.
But everyone went, isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Like,
everyone
I was like, why is everyone going like what's so nice about that?
Nothing.
I don't get it. All right. So far, 2 good. We're signing off on the first 2 picks. Christian had to pick between Alyssa and Tiffany. Ended up picking.
He thought
Alyssa.
with the wrong head. That's what happened.
Terrible
there.
Choice.
He thought with the wrong head.
I think that this was the right pick for Christian, because again, like this is a person whose son is also named Christian, and does he want that mom on his team? Also, I think it made sense because Alyssa would be more somebody he would be connected with. They're the same age basically. And he's out for a showmance. He might as well draft his showmance.
Yeah, that's what he tried to do. And like I said, thinking with the wrong head.
We'll see if Christian and Alyssa end up being friends or allies in any way. I'm kind of curious to see if this is going to mean anything. And then Claire, she had to pick between Kyland and Xavier, and was pretty right to Kyland.
Easy pick on that one.
My choice.
You would have made that same decision?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I think almost anybody would. I just think it's just for on your team. He just seems like he's kinder, easier to talk to. I think
Still in great shape.
He's way more approachable.
Xavier seems very rigid and kind of uptight. Yeah.
Then Frenchie with his second pick. Now he gets between Sarah, Beth, or Brittany.
This was the worst pick.
For the record, Sarah Beth will get rejected 3 times in this draft.
Yeah.
This is her first rejection.
This rejection was the bullshit, though, Dave. Because between the two videos, it was like, yeah, I'm a voice actor, and I forget what else she said, but it was totally normal. And then they bring on Brittany, and Brittany was like, "Whoa, anyone want to dance right now here? Let's go!" And I'm like, you picked that person? That's the better choice?
Yeah,
it's just telling about the pick. And this is Frenchie, so he connected better with Brittany, right? That's Frenchie's more attracted to a Brittany personality than he is to a Sarah Beth personality.
He's right. He didn't.
But it was kind of lose-lose. It was kind of a lose-lose pick, I think.
Sophie's choice again.
Yeah. Whitney then gets Derek X or Derek F. The battle of the Derricks in this pick.
Yeah, battle of the Derricks. I thought, that pick kind of made sense. Like, I think I would want either guy on my team, but the other guy seems like better for a wide variety of competitions.
Correct.
So I understand why he was picked over.
If there was a running competition, I'd be like, is Derek F.
Or climbing, stuff like that, or holding on endurance. I'd much rather have.
If it's the difference between winning a comp and not, it does seem like the logical thing. But it also is effective in telling everybody in the house, including the 2 Derricks, that there are 2 Derricks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Why do they always do this? Like you're casting a show.
You have millions, maybe not millions, thousands of applicants.
There's a lot of applicants, and they're like, you know what? These 2 guys are just too good. We need to have 2 Derricks.
Well, well, it's not their fault that they were both named Derek. Maybe they're both worthy, right? So,
but why not? Use that Derek the season before when there were no Derricks.
Yeah, it's feast or famine when it comes to the Derricks.
Yeah.
And the other thing too was that usually what happens in these situations where you have somebody with the same name is one of them will become some other alias, right?
Or he'll be Fraser, probably Derek.
He might be Fraser, or I think that Derek X should just be DX.
He should be X-Pac. That should be his name.
I don't know. I'd be like DX. Cool initials, man.
Yeah,
because DF, it's like whatever.
Just walk by him in the hall. Suck it.
Yeah. Right. I call him Smoking Derek. No, it doesn't work.
That's smoke.
No.
Do
you think Derek F will tell everybody about his parentage?
No, if he's smart.
He might. I wouldn't put it past him to tell people. Because why would he hide that? He was very proud of it in his opening story. Like, he was like Philly, everything, where he's from.
Estranged from his father, though.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Seems like, but his father died.
But he did mention he mentioned his dad at his intro package.
Died 10 years ago.
There was no picture of him grown. He was estranged from his father.
Right.
There was it was one with his father when he was in military school, it looked like, or something.
Yeah. He said he said he's hoping to bring the competitive spirit of his dad.
Okay. I don't I'm trying to figure out exactly how many kids he had. It's unclear, but But I digress. Okay, so yeah, so then we got a commercial at this point after the Battle of the Derricks, which I thought was worse because now you've explained this format and you're giving like the captains who are going to pick after this even more time to consider who's left, who they might want to pick. I saw some of the teams talking to each other, clearly strategizing on who they want to maybe pick if given the option, or maybe a priority list on who they want to get. So I think that's maybe a misstep. Like I think that just keep it going. We had to watch Frenchie throw the dice for no good reason at the end of the episode. This is what we're going to fill primetime with. So Christian gets a pick between Xavier and Derek F. So this is one of the first times somebody's going to get rejected for the second time because this is both of them are up for it. He picks Xavier instead of Derek F. Do you agree with that pick? Is that the right pick?
Like you said, for Christian, yes.
Okay, and then Claire,
the beautiful people team.
Claire has to pick between Sarah Beth and Tiffany, and even though we mentioned that they might have this LGBTQ connection, Sarah Beth and Claire, she doesn't pick Sarah Beth; she picks Tiffany.
I have a question. The thing that Xavier said, like when he made the joke, like, "Oh, I'm single and I really only have eyes for like Zingbot," or whatever his joke was about Zingbot, right? How prepared was that joke? Like, I feel like he wrote that joke like well before, and he was like, "Okay, it was a good joke."
That joke kills, man. At parties
around non-Avengers.
Non-Avengers, yeah, it's like a War Machine story.
Yeah, it's a War Machine story.
Okay, we're getting down to the final picks here. Frenchie had to pick between Travis and Derek F. And he goes, "Derek, you remind me of my best friend."
Yep.
That's what he said, yeah.
Yep.
And Whitney this was the final one where she had to pick between Hannah or Sarah Beth. Who would you pick? Those are your two picks, Jeff. Hannah and Sarah Beth. They were
the last picks. That was the last decision that was made between two players.
Of the ladies, Travis was technically the reject of the boys, or the least desired of the boys. So
right, who got picked? Derek did, right? Yeah, Derek F. So
Derek F over Travis, yeah.
Over Travis. I don't know. Like, I'm not happy about my picks as far as this pick'em went, but that can change.
They don't get any points for it, though. Don't worry. And then we finally get into this competition. We find out the entire team of 4 is safe, which is better, Jaemeel, than in the Canadian version we just watched this year, where there was like only the 2 teams and the whole team was safe. So half the house was safe, which caused all kinds of problems strategically. They had to get rid of this twist after 2 weeks. This seems a little better. I'm glad that team didn't get 2 weeks of safety, because I think that would have been actually bad for the game and bad for these players, quite frankly. But the House of Cards puzzle. And we also found out the last place team had to be have-nots, and they explained it right up the bat. Have-nots, cold showers, bad slop, and
you can't eat in the shower.
And uncomfortable, yeah, unless you're Jackson Mickey. And then you have to sleep in the most uncomfortable room. Unlike Big Brother Canada, who gave Tashawn that bunk bed to sleep in that ballroom.
Yeah, that was BS.
That was BS. They didn't make those have-nots sleep in that have-not room.
They should have.
No. Why is the have-not thing needed? Why is this a necessary thing to punish random?
Stress.
Does it? Does it work? Is it proven?
I'm just saying, if you're gonna do it. Talk about it. Make it something significant. I think that they do more in the U.S. In the Canadian version, it's like, don't even bother with this.
The majority, like they say it, literally every season, it's the first episode they mention exactly what you just said, and then the majority of casual fans have no idea that the players are eating slop or taking cold showers. Most people don't care. I think, they don't know. They don't even know who is taking the cold
I think
showers
they just do it to create extra stress in the house too.
Yeah, but I mean, my question is, does that work? They must think it does.
It depends on who has it and how they react and what the circumstances
People
are.
resented members in Big Brother Canada for not being on slop, and purposely positioning themselves not to be on slop.
Plus, on Big Brother Canada, like they had to skip the dishes, save the
Yeah, it was
have-not
garbage.
thing. So like it was like maybe there are a couple of have-nots, and one of them is definitely getting a feast from Skip the Dishes on Thursday. So it was whatever. Like if you're gonna do it, just do it, and also have like maybe have-not competitions or something like that. I feel like when I watched my first season, which is Big Brother 15, the season no one may talk about, like I felt like the have-not twist back then meant something more, and I felt like the pain of the house guests because they would put
but Dave,
confessionals.
I remember watching that season, and even back then they were like, the have not thing isn't harsh enough, and Alyssa's gonna get all of the rosy, treatment because she's Rachel Riley's sister, and there was a bunch of stuff that was going on that like there was always been preferential treatment for some of the people, and you never see it a lot of the time. Like I'm sure certain players have gotten stuff that we never heard about. Yeah. Jackson Mickey, I think, was just so blatant about it that they had to make
grapes in the shower.
Yeah.
You'd have to go back further for where like the have-not competitions really meant something, because you had food challenges, so the house need to win food, and then 2, they used to have votes where it'd be like you would get slop and something else, and something else might be something okay to something really awful, like awful, you would have to get old something or an unappealing combination that you would have to eat with your slop, and it, like that made it seem like more of a punishment. You're like, oh my gosh, this sucks so bad. People hated being have-nots.
What I think might be a little interesting how this all played out tonight was the fact that the Kings, which is Christian's team there, they were poised to win this puzzle challenge.
And
they were a second away, but their team fell. And who did you say that was Sarah Best's fault?
I said it was Sarah Best's
fault. You said
fault.
Jaemeel said that.
Yes.
It was Sarah Best's fault.
It seemed like it was, but you know what? It was all 4 of them. Let me stand up for my girl Sarah Beth. I think she can hold up a thing. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I won't be surprised if those 3, Christian, Xavier, and Alyssa, all turn on Sarah Beth and just hate her. Like I won't be surprised if that's what happens.
Well, because they went from maybe winning this to not becoming last place, becoming the have-nots while we're on it. So when every time they eat slop, every time they have a cold shower, whoever they end up assigning the blame to this loss to.
Right, but what if Sarah Beth purposely tried to lose? Maybe she's like a rebel. Maybe she's a chaos agent. Maybe she's a Loki. Maybe
Chaos Cass.
Maybe it's a bit of like, I don't want the beautiful people to win. I'm a fan of this game, and I don't want to see the same old thing happen. And she's like last picked, put on the beautiful people tribe.
Well,
she's
Xavier's on this team, and like his position as beautiful is sort of.
I just mean like they're like the most athletic. They're the most like those 3 people are kind of like.
I think especially Alyssa and Christian are a certain type, right? And Xavier is sort of a wannabe version of them. And then you got Sarah Beth, who's kind of an oddball, right? Right.
And I just won't be surprised if she's alienated by the other 3 in that group, and that alliance never really works, and we see that kind of go forward. I won't be surprised if that happens.
We get so then after so Frenchie's team won. That was the Jokers. They were very content with that. Claire's team, the Queens, they came second, and then the Whitney's team, the Aces, came third. Kings, again, as we mentioned, were last. Also have-nots now. They had a bit of a meet and greet. The cast got integrated a little bit more at this point. We had gone to commercial, came back, and Julie announced that the grand prize, guys, because of inflation, no longer $500,000. It is now $750,000.
Garbage.
It's been 22 years. They've never raised the prize money once. They're like, you know what? We're not going to $1 million, but we will go to $750,000. What do you think about that?
That's not quite $1 million, is it?
They should have made it $1 million. I can't believe I can't believe they're just like, ooh, almost $1 million, but not.
They couldn't find 250,000 more in their budget.
No,
I don't get it.
Well, you know what? If
why?
they save money on giving the Chen bot those
Right.
phrase of the week calendars, then
Well, like
maybe they
this?
could-
From outside the Big Brother house, I'm Julie Chen Moonves, and remember to always exercise empathy and wisdom. Good night.
oh, just want to.
How do you exercise wisdom? You know, like, do you impart the wisdom onto people? Like, always exercise it.
You gotta stretch the wisdom.
Stretch that wisdom. It's a muscle.
Yep.
Yeah, like I don't know. She like compared to I just like Arissa's. Everybody's always watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're gonna get some good ones this year with Chenbot. We are gonna get some good ones.
Dave, you have to make a supercut like
Of Julie
where it's
Chen, just like giving us all these
one after the other.
these
Yeah, whatever she
inspirational
says.
phrases she gets out of a Bible or book or whatever she gets.
Whatever Scientology book she reads those from, can you please just supercut it together? And at the end of the season, we'll just listen to all the diatribes. Whenever we need a moment from Julie Chen Moonves,
here's a moment of
of
wisdom from Julie Chen.
a moment of philosophy from
Moonves. Don't forget the
Chen-
Moonves.
Yes.
Don't forget that. No, that's very important.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked to, and then there was this whole double or nothing twist. Let's talk about it. It obviously didn't work. None of the and most like, and James was like, I wouldn't do this, and I was. Would you have taken the double or nothing?
No, it's dumb.
2 weeks of safety. If you can get these dice on a,
You're
on
not
a table.
HOH anymore. The whole point of you being HOH and winning, like you throwing it away.
Only if he lost.
But like nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah, and well, his answer was when he came back, he got a whole commercial, I think, to think about this, and he says, "I miss my family too much. I'm not doing it." This is day one. I know he's been in sequester, but come on.
Get ready.
Yeah. He is not winning, Dave. I know you're big on Frenchie right now, but the fact that it's day one and he's like, you know what? I'm not going for this obviously pretty easy thing to do. You're giving me 45 seconds to roll 2 dice on a table 5 feet away.
Would you have done it?
I think I would have, thinking about it now. Yeah. You know,
But the
like,
team, it's also about what the team wants, right? And I don't think those team members wanted to risk it. They're like, great, I'm on this team. We have safety for the first week. And they're like, you lose this. And Claire's team would have gotten that power if he had messed this up. He ends up doing it in this version that doesn't matter, but it doesn't, the tension, his nerves would have been different if he knew he had to do this or not, right? So,
yeah, and he might have screwed it up. You're right. He did the safe thing, but it was ridiculous that he was like, my family. It's like you literally walked in the door 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, it just wasn't like it just thought the answer was kind of okay. Just say I'm not, that's too much of a gamble. No thanks. I'm happy with.
Yeah, and I do agree family's more important than risking.
But that's what they always say when you win HOH. It's all about getting a video or a picture. Is it? Or is it more about your basket of candy?
That's what I love about most of the time in Survivor. When you win immunity, it's like you don't get anything. Sometimes they give them letters, which I never like.
And then they cry.
I want them to on these shows ignore family members as much as possible. Like, it's not why I watch the show. I don't care about their family. I watch the show for the strategy, the antics, the wacky behavior, the caricatures that they are willing to present to me. I don't care about his family and his kids. You know, if that comes up, that's fine. But like, yeah, I don't need it. I don't need a whole episode for it, especially.
Yeah, I know, me either. But that's what he said. So anyway, but Frenchie is HOH. We'll see how well Frenchie does. But I think he could be like a Tamar Braxton, be the last pick in our draft and end up winning. Remember Tamar Braxton?
No, he's not going to win. Like, there's no way. Like, he might win, but I mean, come on. Like, he's such a big threat. Like, he just proved to the entire house that he could win any of those competitions. and he should have played kind of the dumb Southern guy, or like he should have come in and acted like Judd from season 15, your favorite season, Dave.
Or are you more like a Donnie?
Or Donnie, or just kind of just played like he showed off how athletic he was. And I think, and smart, and how smart he is too. And I don't know. I think it was sometimes when you win the first HOH, it's great, but I never like it when you show off like how good you are at the competitions, because when that happens, everyone else takes notice. Everyone else goes,
I have a dream of a man named Frenchie winning Big Brother.
We'll see, Dave.
Like I do agree with what Daryl was saying. Like Kyland is the type of player that will go very far in this game, because he's like he's a warm guy. He's nice. He's gonna get in a lot of drama, and I think those are the type of players that will do very well in this season.
Yep. It was an interesting night. Yeah. By the way, Frenchie's real first name is Brandon, but I don't think anyone's going to call him Brandon. Yeah, I thought it was okay. Like, weird night in some ways, production wise. I'm kind of like, what are we going to get Sunday? Because they're saying like tonight's premiere night, so we're good. And then next week's kind of a traditional format, except instead of a HOH competition and well, I guess we'll get nominations on Sunday as well. But instead of an HOH, we get a wild card comp, which I guess will be some other kind of safety.
Battle of the block, maybe.
Because now you have 4 people safe and you have 12 people vulnerable, right? So maybe a few of those people can win immunity, or one of the teams of the 3 can win immunity, so only half the house is eligible.
I could see like a team veto.
Maybe, yeah.
Or will it end up being like all 4 members of the team are on the block, and then you can vote for any of the 4 instead of there being 2 people? No, because she said 2 people, that the HOH still will have 2 nominations. That is what they did in Big Brother Canada. It was basically like the whole team was eligible to be voted out.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea.
Don't like it.
And those teams were bigger. And so it was like, I think for the first vote, it was like 6 people were eligible to be voted out. It was kind of weird. And so they kind of killed it after the 2 weeks, because the 2 teams there was alliances working around the teams, right? Because they're like, okay, I can still have my alliance regardless of what team I'm on. But the 4 teams make that a lot harder to do, right? Because
well, let me ask you this, Dave. What if they did a season of Big Brother like Survivor, where there's no HOH and everyone just votes like they do in Survivor? They go to tribal council in Survivor. It's the same thing. And what if they did the no HOH, no power of veto? Or maybe they'll do power of veto because there is immunity in Survivor. But like they do Survivor rules for Big Brother. I think that might work for a season if they kind of as a twist.
Yeah, that's kind of like what Sequester is, which is like another kind of version of one of these games, which was created by Audrey from Big Brother. Is that 16 or 17 maybe?
Yep.
Yeah, so she created like a Survivor Big Brother hybrid of a sorts, right?
Yeah,
where there's no HOH, it's kind of majority rules, but it's more of a house format. So it's kind of interesting. It's like it's a different way of approaching it.
Right, but like if they did that, like even for a couple weeks on Big Brother ones, like a twist or something, I think that would be cool, because like it does get monotonous. Like HOH, 2 nominees, there's a veto. Like it kind of like it's always the same, and it would be kind of cool if they did kind of change it, like just for a twist or something.
Well, they have. They've played around with this, and
they've never done a no HOH. They've never done that.
They've never done a HOH. They've done a visible one. Look, all I want is a stripped down version of Big Brother. We can do this team format for a couple of weeks, but then I just want.
But it doesn't sound. Rules. It doesn't sound like that, Jaemeel. It sounds like.
It doesn't sound like that.
It's like going for like 12 weeks in a row, where if you're somebody wins the HOH, you like say like only 2 people are left on that team. Well, that other person's automatically safe, and that can go to like right into jury, which, wow.
They have to be willing to kill this twist if it's not working anymore, right? Like I think that has to. If it's keeping the show interesting, then carry on. As far as close to jury is working, but that's the thing. Sometimes I think like I don't know how production completely thinks, but I could imagine that there'd be a thought process like, no, we're going to plan out our competitions and all of our twists all in advance, and we're going to stick to that so that there's kind of this objective approach to it. On the other hand, you could have the other philosophy of like, no, I'm not like whoever wins this show, who cares? Like, let's just make sure it's entertaining, and whatever is going to make their lives miserable, if that gets viewers and ratings, then do it.
That's all I care about is to make it entertaining for me, and that's it. Like, that's it. Just make it fun.
And if house guests are like trying to, ultimately, all house guests, all players, I think, of any sport or game, are try to like, how can I? Where are the shortcuts? How can I gamify it? How can I? Whatever.
Yeah, and it's up to the game. It is up to the game to adapt and change the rules. And Big Brother, everybody knows the playbook, Dave. Like, you get in the house, you find out the beautiful people, you create an 8-person alliance, and you ride that alliance until the jury, and then you might break apart into at one point, and then you go back to a big alliance, and then you go right to the end. Like that, it's the same formula every single time in Big Brother. At least in Survivor, it's more individualistic, and alliances change all the time. That's what I mean, like, about Big Brother, where maybe they should flip the whole voting, the way they do HOH and the voting, on its head, just to see what it does to the house, because I do think the strategy has become predictable a lot of the time.
It's power numbers, right? And like, and the majority, I just want to be in what's always been the trend in a lot of these versions is that the majority alliance does this great job of convincing the minority that there is no majority alliance.
Yeah.
But it doesn't exist.
Right. And then they figure it out later. It's like, whoa, really? And it's like, you've been living in this house and you never figured this out.
Like, anybody out there who might ever play a Big Brother, if you are playing this and you're into, even if you're into like day 3 and you are not in a majority alliance, then you are not, like, you're not in it. There definitely is one, and you're not in it.
Like right now in the house, there's no majority alliance, but wait 3 days.
Less, like, I predict even we'll see if there's any kind of live feeds update. It's a little early, but maybe on Sunday we're gonna have maybe a sense of where some of these early alliances might be falling, teams or not. Probably not, because people are gonna look long term.
What might be nice though, Dave, is the fact that there is 4 teams. And what might end up happening is like 2 teams kind of go, hey, do we want to be kind of more aligned with each other? And then the other 2 teams kind of team up as well. And then you have 2 sides of the house, and then we could get an interesting season.
Or you could have 3 teams team up on 1 team.
Well, that could happen too. And once that happens, I won't be surprised if that happens, to be honest.
Because then there you have majority alliance.
It's a Big Brother. They tried to hack it, and then it hacked itself.
They hacked it back. Claire hacked it back. Claire, the programmer from
Mr. Robot. Yeah, Mr. Robot. Come on. Yeah, Mrs. Robot.
Yeah, and that's it. And then we had Julie's send off, which it's so good. Let's play it again.
From outside the Big Brother house, I'm Julie Chen Moonves, and remember to always exercise empathy and wisdom. Good night.
Yeah. So I thought it was a little bit it was a different premiere, but I think somewhat memorable.
Yeah, I can see that. I can understand.
Would you have just been happy if we got the traditional move-in kind of episode? Or
they changed stuff that didn't need to be changed. That was my issue. Like, you should have the sense that if you're going to do some kind of version of a format change, you're going to like, hey, let's keep the best ideas of what works, and let's, add in new interesting ways to do things, right? And they did not get the equation right. They didn't.
No, they're trying to change the equation though, too, in fairness, but it's not working, and they seem very disorganized. And I think a part of that is COVID. They can't put everybody in a room. They can't really seem to figure out what's going on live. So I think that's hopefully they work.
Maybe like I didn't feel like I was watching a COVID show tonight. There was no masks. It was pretty loosey goosey, and so I was like, okay, like I guess it's
That's true. This was different than last season when they made them come out, then put a mask on, talk to Julie with no mask on, and as if they were doing something appropriate. It was strange. And now they're like, okay, we're not doing that at all. No masks.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I think it had more to do. I feel like there's just a changing of the guard, a new era in this show, and there's a new team, and they don't quite know what they're doing yet.
Sure. Is Julie gonna make it to like BB 30? Like is that like I feel like she might not make it to BB 25.
They're gonna swap out cybernetic parts. The Chen bot is gonna survive.
There's no way she does this because she needs the money. So she has right. She's a gazillionaire. She's a moonvez. She tells us every time, right? So he made a lot of money. I don't know, but we'll see.
He did a lot of other things too, but
yes, he did do a lot of other things.
He also destroyed Star Trek, and that will be never forgiven by this channel.
Amongst his most egregious sins, but not his worst. Yes, and he married Julie Chen, but yes. So there's that, and the premiere. I don't know. Like I used to hate the 2-night premiere. I really didn't like the we're gonna part one. I didn't like that. So
I hate when they like if they had said like find out blah 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 when who's the HOH. I would have been like, you just made me watch a whole hour and a half of competitions and you're not going to tell me who won. Like if they even not even introduce the second half of the cast. Yeah, like if they had done that to us tonight, that would have been like the most mortal sin that Big Brother could have done. Like they didn't, so that's good.
Jaemeel, what's your sort of post-mortem on this premiere, and how are you feeling about the season?
I feel like I have a lot of catching up to do considering live feeds because I missed so much information that was shown off camera. So
is there any spoilers that you would like to share with us?
Nothing, because either it's still down or my VPN isn't working properly because I'm just getting a blank screen.
Okay, well, they've the show only ended a short time ago, so I'm sure on Sunday we'll have way more information to go off of in terms of just how the social dynamics are going. I'm guessing Big Brother After Dark is happening somewhere.
Oh, are they bringing that back?
I don't know. Maybe
they did advertise it at the bottom of the page.
So maybe it's just live feeds out there.
They didn't do that last year, so I don't. Maybe a couple of years actually. They haven't done Big Brother After Dark.
Oh, there's a Star Trek commercial for Paramount Plus.
They know, Jaemeel, that they're like the big. We were talking about the Big Brother and Star Trek and the Venn diagram. That's our sweet spot.
I guess.
And they're both Paramount Plus.
I think it's just a commercial before the feeds. Let's see.
So if you have anything live feeds to share, let us know. But it sounds like we don't. But we'll be back on here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting. Before we'll be back on Sunday to talk about the next episode of Big Brother. We will be here Saturday night to talk about Jaemeel and I will be along with Ashley Millard to discuss Black Widow, the new movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She's one of the Avengers, but she's dead. What the hell's going on? It's a prequel. Well, we're going to be talking about that. And then in a week's time, over a week, we'll be talking about Loki, as that series is wrapping up pretty soon to continue our Marvel Cinematic Universe coverage. And we'll be here 3 times next week, Sunday, Wednesday, and Thursday to talk about Big Brother 23. All the 3 episodes airing next week and continue to talk about this season. Plus, check out our other channels. We have Live Long and Podcast, which is our Star Trek channel, where we talk about Star Trek on Monday nights. We talk about the original series, recently moved to Mondays. Join the changes. Then on Tuesday nights, we have Star Trek Deep Space Nine podcast, where we watch every episode in order. On the original series, we don't watch them in order. Jeff, where we just talked about family business, and I think we're talking about Shakar next week.
Yep. This Kira's worst boyfriend.
Canada's own Duncan Regeer.
Yeah.
So feeds.
Barile was better.
Feeds are what?
Feeds are still down.
Feeds are still down. And we'll be having our.
Did you notice that they showed us the fish tonight? They showed us the fish at one point. Like it came up on the screen.
The fish tank.
Yeah, the fish tank when they went to like hit the buzzer, and then the fish tank came up. That was another one of the blunders that happened tonight.
Well, they're working the kinks out. They had to blow the dust off the controls and keep going.
That's how they should have started the presentation. Just like it's like we're finally back.
We're back.
The BB house, and you just see blowing the dust off.
It should have been like that scene in the Muppets where they get the Muppet Theater back together and it'd be like, we built this city on rock and roll.
Could they would if they sang a song in the DR, would it look any different than the video? Like like the DR literally looks like the room you go to get your picture taken in like 1987.
More like 1993 or 2.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great.
Yeah. It did have that effect, but I felt like they were trying to go for like this retro feel too. So I don't know. All right, so that wraps up the premiere. And also Trivial Debates, our monthly channel where we argue about TV, movie, sports, and more. That's our next episode coming up on July 25th. We have Mike O'Connor hosting, Jeff Mader competing, along with Jody Simpson and Adam Woodward. And check out our last month's episode as well. Okay, that's the that wraps it up for the premiere. That's it.